Imagine a world in which the shelves at the store are empty. There's no food, supply chain issues, and the cost of food is through the roof.
Today we're going to show you a solution that is a game changer that can secure your food supply.
Welcome to the Manti Homestead and our unique greenhouse.
Hey Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan and I am so excited to be here with Nate from Manti Homestead. Nate has built the food stability model. We love to come and visit regularly. If you haven't seen our previous video, check out the card in the corner because it's truly amazing. Nate, what you've built here is really food security. I've seen a lot of greenhouses that end up frying in the summer and freezing in the winter, but you've created something beautiful here. Tell us about it.
Oh, thanks. Well, you know, we have 9 kids, so as a protector and provider of my family, it's always bothered me about what would you do if you didn't have access to fresh food? Or what would you do if the price of food continues to creep up and you can't afford it? So are there solutions in your backyard? And this was the answer to that. This was a way for us to bring a little bit of those concerns and a little bit of that power right back into our own homestead.
So Nate, part of the secret of this is going underground. Tell us why. What's important about the underground aspect of this?
Oh, that's such a good question because, as you know, Utah, where we're at, we get both extremes. Really cold in the winter, really hot in the summer. And so what we've done is many different ideas, including going down under the ground. So we're 30 inches into the ground, and that helps us in 2 ways. It helps us in the wintertime because we're tapping into that kind of constant Mother Nature temperature that's under the ground. But also, you can probably feel it with your shorts on. Can you feel a little bit of the cool air?
Yes.
Greenhouses have a major problem getting too hot. And so tapping into that geothermal constant is very beneficial.
And what other ways do you do that? I mean, we've dropped down, but what else? There's other secrets that have made this work really well.
So in addition, trying to tap into Mother Nature's gifts. Mother Nature has all these laws and principles and rules. A Wallapini is trying to approach technologies or methods that really tap you back into what the earth has given you anyway. So from the angles to whatever. So the other thing that we have done is we've created cold air drops. So in the wintertime, you know, I'm growing citrus, we're growing bananas, and they're right here on the main floor. So we have a banana in front of us, and I've got a cold sink just right there. So in the wintertime, that cold air that comes down naturally, because it's more dense, I want it to go even further down and away from the roots of the plants. So adding a cold air drop to an already sunken Wallapini, you know, these are different aspects that we've used to accomplish year-round growth.
So what happens to that cold air? I mean, that air drops, but it can't continue to drop forever. I mean, you only have so much space for it, so what happens to it?
Yeah, so on my construction video number 2, I kind of show how I built that. So I added like a chimney on top of mine. So it's a 2-foot hole that goes down 6 feet. And then I have an 8-inch pipe coming up here to really try to incite, to encourage that cold air to go down, and then the warmer air warms up. Now it does a couple of other beneficial things for me as well. The main one was I wanted a cold air drop, but in addition, it creates this circulation, and you especially see it in the winter times where that cold air is dropping, and you have the circulation in the greenhouse, which is really good because you have to have ventilation and circulation in a greenhouse so you can have greater plant health.
So what we're really doing here is working with nature as opposed to what many do is try and fight against it.
I've said this before, but a greenhouse is really a whole bunch of contradictions fighting against each other. You know, so we've got some things helping by submersing this in the ground, but what we've also done is on the back of our greenhouse, we've created an immense amount of insulation. 2 layers of foam insulation on the back side, insulation on the sides, 4 inches of foam insulation up top. So we've wrapped this whole greenhouse in a big blanket of insulation because we have to have the glazing in the front, which is a weakness to insulation, but required to have that sunlight to come in. So those 2 forces play against each other, but if you finagle things and if you work it, you can really get the right equation and you can have success.
And you mentioned your videos that you'd done, and we'd encourage you to go to Manti Homestead and check out the videos, the construction videos. He's laid out how this thing all came together and why it works so well.
Yeah, you know, with that, we've benefited from taking a lot of different ideas from other greenhouses. There's so many different approaches to greenhouses, from a hoop house to a covering over a grow bed to a large wallopini or something, you know, of this sort. And the great thing is that there's principles of all of these greenhouses that might be right for you. So you may or may not be interested in something on this scale. Some of these smaller greenhouses, for example, can benefit from thermal mass, which is another thing that we've done that creates, actually, it helps us cool down in the summer, because our thermal mass, which is 2,000 gallons of water, as well as these cement walls, those are actually helping cool it down right now. But the main driver is in the wintertime when the sunlight is fully on that back thermal mass, it's warming it up. So I went off on that little tangent, because sometimes these smaller greenhouses, like even a hoop house, for example, can benefit from the principles of thermal mass.
One of the most exciting things to me about this is the geometry, how you've used the angle of the glazing just right, and then you've got, when the sun is in the middle of summer, it's up here where it doesn't see any glazing directly, and so you have that protection, that shade, if you will, that keeps it from just turning into an oven.
Yeah, that's another aspect where we've really wanted to tap in. Okay, I'd never been a sun or a moon watcher, but I am now. Because just understanding that simple truth that the sun has changing patterns. That's what a wallopini does, is it gets an angle on this front wall, this front glazing. So in the summertime, your sunlight is almost directly above. And so what that does is it creates shade in the back half of the greenhouse. And so this thing does not have full input to sun, and it's not going to get too hot. Right. And then in the wintertime, when the sun is actually over here, the glazing gets almost like a direct hit. Yeah. And so in January and February, we have the most intensity of sun coming into the greenhouse. The whole back wall's lit up. And that's good, because during those cold winter days, that natural input from the sun with its angle comes in, and it warms up the 2,000 gallons of water. It warms up the thermal mass from the back cement wall, the grow bed walls. It warms everything up. That is the only heater that we've used for 3 winters to get us through the cold winter nights. And again, it's just tapping into angles and the beautiful energy that God has given to us.
Absolutely. And last time we were here, it was 9 degrees outside, and it was 95 degrees in here.
Yeah.
It was just unreal to have that contrast, kind of the Shangri-La thing where you're outside and then you come in to this beautiful, beautiful jungle that's just so nice. Now, we talk a little bit about ventilation. You've talked a little bit, but tell us why the ventilation systems are so important.
Oh, that's such a good question, because really, again, we have the two things with greenhouses. They're too hot in the summer, they're too cold in the winter. So we approach the summer ventilation really simply. We have an 18-inch stem wall across the whole front of the greenhouse. And in the summertime, we roll up an insulated curtain, and we allow the 18 inches gap times the 100-foot length of the greenhouse. So all of that ventilation from outside, even though it's hot air, it's coming in, and then it's just naturally going to vent out to the higher windows and vents. So it's creating this natural ventilation through just convection. And so that is it is the summer design of the greenhouse. It's simple. The laws of nature are doing it for us. No fans, no energy. This costs us $0 to run in the summer. But guess what? It also costs $0, nothing to run in the winter. So in the winter time, well, how do you do that? So in the winter, I have to close up all of that ventilation in the front, because I need a blanket of insulation. So what we do is we open up the top windows. Even on those sub-degree temperature days, we open that up, and there's naturally warm air in here because the sun is coming in a very intense way. So it warms up in here, the hot air rises, and then we've got, I call them earth tubes. We have tubes that are underground. I dug a big 8-foot deep trench here. And those tubes, there's 12 of them, 6 of them on each side of the greenhouse. And it naturally draws the cold winter air down into the ground, and it warms it up and then inputs it every 10 feet in the greenhouse. Natural convection goes up, hot air rises, the cold air from outside goes down under the ground and gives me the fresh air and carbon that I need for the greenhouse to grow in the winter time.
That is so beautiful. That is using nature at its finest.
You know, I have some other greenhouses that I love, and they're accomplishing year-round growth in almost like a hoop house design, but it was so expensive those first couple of years to do so with a traditional hoop house. And I love hoop houses. I think that they have different functionalities than maybe a Wallapini does. But the thing I like about this current design, if you're trying to achieve a 4-season growth, is that the more you can just reach out and let the principles of Mother Nature work for you, you're going to be putting in more infrastructure up front. But then the end result is that yearly and daily energy costs are like zero.
Zero.
No fans, no heater in this particular greenhouse.
That is just truly amazing. So Nate, what we're really talking about here is off-grid food security. And of course, right now, this is providing an abundant amount of food for your family, but it becomes even more important if power's down. Tell us your whole perspective and why. I know that figured into your thinking and all this because I know you well enough to know that, but tell our audience your thoughts on this whole grid down ability to secure your food and to help others too. I mean, this is part of community also.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I really want, any of the ideas in here are not my ideas, they're not my technologies, they're not my laws, so we're definitely wanting to share them. Because when I approached the greenhouse, I wanted to try to force myself into having something that could last for 4 seasons. And so I really stewed on, okay, well, what design can get me there? And I couldn't find anything that necessarily could get me there until I started taking a bunch of different ideas and a bunch of different principles, amalgamated all into one greenhouse. So this is what I came up with. So my main goal was to achieve off-grid growing. I wanted year-round. And it was a great realization to know you can't do that unless you find out what those laws and principles are of Mother Nature and then tap into those. So with this greenhouse, we've really kind of pushed to that. So right now, we can grow tropics, and we're having a lot of fun because we're growing bananas. This is a tangelo tree, which is the best of all oranges, lemons, limes, pomegranates. That's fine, and we're getting a lot of the good stuff too, like the onions and celery and beets and beans and all the herbs. In a grid down situation, the thing I like is I can actually groom this quite a bit differently. I'll take away maybe some of the fun plants, and then we'll get into just some of that more nutrient dense plants, get into the cabbages and the kales and the lettuces, as well as some of this other things, so we have a large variety of food. And that's kind of the glory of a greenhouse, is that you can, if you get it right, you can have an abundance and a variety of food to help in that emergency situation.
And one thing that I really like is that you are sharing this information because you've done a lot of homework to get here, and you are willing to share this information so that we can spread that abundance and that food stability over many people. Anybody that can do something like this and you can help them get there, you're just creating this gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, that's really cool. Like the thing that I love the best on my YouTube channel, Manti Homestead, but also when I come to your videos, I love reading the comments of your subscribers and the people on my videos, because I do not know everything. What little I know, I'm glad to share. It won't take very long. There's not much there. But there's so many people, smart people, that we're surrounded with. And for the type of situations that we want to participate in and survive in, it's going to take everybody. So I've achieved really great success with this design, and I'm glad to share it. But I always look back at my grandpa Ver, because he was a master gardener. I can only dream of what would be accomplished if Grandpa Ver were the one gardening inside of my greenhouse. And so what I do is the more I share and talk, it seems like the more it returns back to me with people with these great ideas on, hey, how to grow citrus. Hey, Nate, your bananas have too many pups. You got to cut those out. You need more water. Hey, Nate, did you know you can do this for disease prevention? Or this is what you can do for white moss, so on and so forth. We all have solutions that we can offer each other. And so the more that we share, I found, I mean, it's coming back to me tenfold with what little I'm trying to share here with our homestead and with our greenhouse.
That's a beautiful thing. It's part of its community at its fulfillment.
Like you guys say at the end of your videos, be part of the solution.
Absolutely.
You know, and we all have a part. Everyone has a part. Everyone watching this video, you have something that I don't, that Jonathan doesn't, that Kylene doesn't. And if you can realize that, don't be overwhelmed by what other people are doing. What can you do? Because my message is that you're going to get inspiration from somewhere else, not from me. I'm glad to share the little things that I've been doing, but as you think of what you need to be doing, whether it's building a similar greenhouse or a grow bed or whatever it is, you have much to share. So don't get overwhelmed in that. Make sure you're sharing that, and then we all work together and create great things like this.
Well, Nate, this has been fun. It's always fun to come back and visit with you and to see what you're doing here. So take just a minute to give any final words of advice, any counsel for our audience. This is all about food security. Tell us your thoughts and what people can do, and make sure they know where they can reach you.
Well, it's a great thought to end on, because, you know, there are so many anxieties out there right now with the state of the world, all these geopolitical things that are happening, the shelves, the cost of food. Like, these are very real concerns. We all have them. So my message is that if you go into things of preparation, if you decide to grow in your grow bed or build a greenhouse or a hoop house, the things that you can do, that you decide to do, actually decreases your anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing some of those uncertainties into your own power, instead of relying upon somebody else to grow for you, or someone else not to spray weird stuff on them in the growing process or in the preserving process. You can achieve a lot of that in your own backyard. And there's a lot of people around you, and there's a lot of great videos from some fellow friends of mine that can help you do it. You can do it. You can come up with solutions, and you can do amazing things.
And where can they reach you?
Manti Homestead is our YouTube channel. More of the lighthearted stuff is on Instagram under Manti Homestead. You get a little bit more of the flavor of the family, because again, we're nine kids, a family of 11. We're very busy, we're very active, but we're choosing the best we can to bring some of that into a normal yet not normal household.
Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. And now for the question of the day. What one or more steps are you taking right now to increase your food security and to provide stability for your family? Drop those in the comments. Let's talk about it. And thanks for being part of the solution.